On the line, we have Jake Tapper from CNN, who is going to do his own GOP debate. CNN's got one on September 16th. Is that right, Jake?
That's right, at the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, California. I'll be moderating that.
All right, so, by the way, I'm Brian Wilson alongside Amanda Carpenter, who's in for Larry O'Connor today. Listen, here's my question. I mean, no doubt, as someone who has to conduct one of these debates in just a few weeks, you were watching last night, and so I noted this morning that Donald Trump, when asked how he thought he did, said, "I think I would give myself an A," in his very modest assessment of his own debate abilities. What kind of grade would you give to the debate last night, and particularly the Donald?
Well, obviously, it was a very eminently watchable debate and a lot of great moments. So I'm not a teacher, so I don't give out grades. But I thought everyone did a fine job, and better than that, a great job. I thought it was really interesting in terms of what Donald said. I mean, the debate right off the bat started with Bret Baier addressing what a lot of Republican officials took to be the elephant in the room, no pun intended, in that, would you pledge that if you don't get the nomination, you'll support the person who does get the nomination, and you will not run for president third party, thus, in Brett's words, Brett's view, handing the election to another Clinton. And Donald Trump, honestly, candidly, brazenly, however you look at it, raised his hand and said he could not make that pledge. I thought that was a very, very interesting moment.
All right, so let me stop you there for a minute, because I want to ask you this question. This morning, listeners to this program, a fair number of them have gotten on the phone and say, cheap shot to ask that question because it was aimed at Trump and it was unfair. What do you think about that?
I think that Donald Trump has a lot of very strong defenders, and they look at questions like that or anything that might be targeted specifically at him as the front runner as cheap shots. I thought it was completely fair and above board, and something that is on the minds of a lot of Republican officials. Now, it might not be on the minds of a lot of Donald Trump supporters, because they are motivated by something other than, I think it's fair to say, loyalty to the Republican brand. They, I think, are motivated by other things, and I'm not judging them to be negative, but distrust of Washington, disgust with Republican leaders as well as Democratic leaders in Washington. So for them, this isn't about the Republican nominee. This is about something else. This is about whatever it is. When Barack Obama ran for president, he in 2008, he acknowledged that a lot of people were just projecting what they wanted on him, and I think that that's happening to a degree with Donald Trump. I wouldn't call it a cheap shot. I thought it was a valid question, and I think you got to give credit to Donald Trump for answering it honestly.
Good morning, Jake. Judging from last night, it seems like all the energy, attention, charisma, for the moment at least, is on the Republican side, largely because there's just so many people running. But on the Democratic side, there just isn't that much energy. How do you think the Democrats are going to compensate for that and essentially put on nearly as good a show as the Republicans did last night?
Well, I don't think it will be as good a show. It just can't be. When you have, first of all, I mean, just there is an abundance of charismatic figures on the Republican side running for president right now, and you had, I thought, some really great moments in the happy hour debate with the 7 candidates who didn't make the cut for the big debate. Carly Fiorina, a lot of people giving her credit for having a good night. So, it's not, there isn't as much heat and there isn't as much energy on the Democratic side. That does not necessarily mean that Hillary Clinton or whomever won't win the presidency, but it does mean that it's not as fun right now. There's also a reluctance among the Hillary Clinton's Democratic rivals to attack her, to go after her. We had Martin O'Malley on the show yesterday.
Yeah, we got a little clip from that. Let me play it for you so you can then comment on it. Here is Jake Tapper talking to Martin O'Malley, who wants to be the Democratic nominee.
And I think we're hurting ourselves if we try to circle the wagons and limit debate. I mean, what is this, the World Wrestling Federation? This is the Democratic Party, and we need to have democratic debates about the solutions that will actually serve America's families on affordable college, getting wages to go up, climate change, and all the rest.
And his main point is that the Democrats are protecting Hillary and not being willing to get out there and have these rigorous debates.
Yeah, there are going to be 6 debates. I think 3 of them are before voting takes place, and 3 after. Obviously, for somebody who is low in the polls, like Martin O'Malley, or everybody really, except for Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, that's frustrating because he wants to get his name out. What's different this year than previous cycles is the Democratic Party will penalize you if you participate in a non-sanctioned debate. That's not what happened in 2008. You could do the DNC debates, but you could also do other ones. This time, if you do the other ones, you do not get to participate in the DNC debate. Martin O'Malley and others consider this to be the Democratic Party trying to limit exposure for the non-Clinton candidates and protecting Clinton. But the thing is about Martin O'Malley, and that was about as passionate as I've seen him on the stump, and I thought it was a great appearance by him on my show yesterday. He's still reluctant to criticize Hillary Clinton, especially by name, and that's one of the reasons why the Democratic debates, as of now, can't be as exciting. Although the first one is in October, we're going to be doing that. I think it's going to be in Nevada, and so by then maybe there'll be a little bit more heat. Who knows?
All right. So overall, I noticed that the Republicans didn't really. I mean, some of them took shots at Hillary. But really, it was more about the Republican Party issues than it was about going after the Democrats last night. Do you agree?
I heard a lot of shots at Hillary, especially in that, if you include that happy hour debate. I think that there's still a lot to talk about. There's still a lot of differences between the candidates, and I think we're going to, as this heats up even more, I think the differences are going to get sharper and sharper, and we'll have attacks. More direct attacks on one another. They were fairly, except for some moments with Donald Trump and some moments with Rand Paul and Chris Christie, I would say they were fairly reluctant to do the differentiation, describing how they're different from their rivals. At this stage, a lot of them are still introducing themselves to the voters.
Right.
But I think that's going to change, and we'll see some substantive differences and attacks going forward.
All right, who you got on your show this weekend?
I think as of now, although it's obviously a work in progress, I think as of now we have Ted Cruz, and I think I can't tell you the other person yet because it's not firmed up. But we'll obviously be talking a lot about the debate, and then there's going to be another forum over the weekend. RedState.com is having a forum with candidates, so there'll be some fresh sound from that as well.
All right. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you, and thanks for being with us this morning. Jake Tapper from CNN.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.